Hi Zwifters and welcome back to another ZRL race. This is season 1, 2022, race 6, the last of the season. For those that are new here, my name is Ollie. I'm a mid-category B racer with an FTP of 276, weighing in at 76 kilograms exactly. So today's race, it sees us on the Eastern 8 course. I'm going to do the parkour for this Lantern Rouge style, so 32.1 miles or 51.7 kilometres. It's the longest race of the season so far, actually. In terms of climbing, it's 340 metres or 115 foot of elevation. This course, in a nutshell, sees us go up Titans both ways, both directions, and a really long Vugo Flats segment. The order of the day here for me is to hang on for as long as possible to the top group and finish as high as I can. So, exciting race this one, let's get to it. So we've got the first sprint section here, the Vugo Flats short, and in my head for this one, I just really want to stay with the bunch. I don't want to burn all my matches too early, and as you can see, it's going to start to kick off in a second. I'm just holding a medium amount of, I would call, sprint watts. So for me, I top out at about 900. At the start of the race, at the end of the race, it's more like 600. So yeah, I'm just on the pedals here, 600 watts, trying to keep up with the bunch, trying to save as much energy as possible. I think actually a couple of my teammates did really well in this. So Rod got one first across the line point, and Jon got a first across the line. I think he came something like 6th or 7th, and he got fastest through points as well. So that was a good job from the team there. So as I roll it forward here, there has been a slight split in the group, and luckily for me, I'm now in this front group, which is about 60 riders. So as we head into Titans Grove, KOM forward section, 2.6 kilometres long at 2.2%. Surprisingly, my main aim for this section is to keep up with the front group. To do that, it's going to be about a 5-6 minute, pretty tough effort for me. And as we roll it forward here, you can see the watts start to pick up, averaging around, I would say, 280 to 350, with not much let off, to be honest with you. Around this stage, you can start to see some riders just falling off the back, and it's really, really hurting at this point. But yeah, stage 1 for me, just get to the top, in the front group, roll down, save some energy, and hopefully that would have whittled down the group a little bit more, giving me the best opportunity to finish higher up. So just coming to the top here, I'm just sort of losing the back of this group, really trying as hard as I possibly can. And at this point, I've got another decision to make. I'm now going to roll with this little group of 5, which then gets a little bit bigger as we go through Oceans Boulevard. And finally, we managed to join up back to the main pack. As you can see, we're about 50 deep now, so we've lost about 10 riders off that main group. But I'm pretty satisfied with the outcome of Titans and the first part of the race. So we're heading into the Vugo Flats section. And this is the long sprints. This is something that we've not necessarily seen before in one of these ZRL races. And that is an extremely long sprint. And there was some talk before around, what are going to be the strategies? Are people going to, sit back and be in a bigger group behind the front group? However, in our particular race, I think the group at the front was so big, it was always going to be difficult for anyone else to get a fastest through section on this one. So as you can see here, little split starts to go. And I'm not sure why I did this, but I felt it necessary to try and jump on the back of this. I saw an opportunity. I thought, well, maybe if I can hang with a group of perhaps 10 at the front, I might get some fastest through points. So I did use one of those matches that I was saving to the end at this point. As you can see, I'm just trying my best to get onto this group here and hoping that there's going to be a little bit of a split behind me. But as you can see, unfortunately, this group is pretty strong, and although it gets strung out here, it didn't necessarily break up, and in fact Now what's happening is I'm getting pulled back into the main pack, and I'm kind of pretty tired. You can see by my face that I'm struggling a bit now to keep up with this group. I mean, you can see there is a tiny little split, but it's not enough now. I'm not going to be able to do probably anything for the remainder of this section. I just need to make sure that I try and stay with this front bunch. So as we wind it forward here, we're coming to the end of the segment. And at this time, actually, I didn't know it was the end of the segment at this point. So I had a little sort of tiny sprint there. And now I'm just, once again, trying to hold on to this front group. If I'd have known it was the end of the sprint or the end of the section, I probably would have, I imagine, tried a little bit harder. But as you can see, I'm 35th, 36th. And it's not going to be good enough for any points, unfortunately. I've now got to really try hard to make sure that I stay involved. And this is the segment that I was really not looking forward to. Titans Grove, KOM, reverse, 0.55 miles, 6.6% as an average gradient. And I've got nothing left to give, unfortunately. And I already know that I'm going to be falling back. So, resigning to the fact that I am going to now not be in the lead group, I'm just trying to make sure that I have got people around me that I can hang on to and sort of form one of those smaller little groups so that I don't get caught now by the people behind. So I'm almost trying to protect the 41st, 42nd position because there is a group behind, and I know that by myself I would definitely get caught. I'm not strong enough to keep off a group on the flats. So as you can see, this chap here, he comes through and he's the last rider in this group. Well, he was. Now I'm the last rider in this group. So I've just got to fight to stay with him. And I do sit on the back of him for the majority of this climb. And I do make it to the top. Just the two of us. So we then cycle down, sitting as a team. And then we pick up somebody else here and make a reasonable little group of three. And this for me is probably the most exciting part of the race because I'm in a group of three. I kind of feel like they'd be a similar level to me because we're in the similar positions, we dropped at similar times. So now it's a chance for me to think about, finishing first out of this group. This is my own little race within the race as such. I do notice that there is somebody about 30 seconds ahead, but with 6.7 miles left, I'm pretty unsure whether or not we'll catch them, especially as we're not really pushing super hard. So under Oceans Boulevard here, we now come to a stage where I'm sort of just pushing a few more watts, and then I just follow this guy up here, and we actually managed to drop the Team Netherlands B2 rider, which is quite interesting because we were working quite well, all three of us. I then see an opportunity to catch the BZR rider, so I'm trying to push as hard as possible. Strangely, the chap behind me, he drops a little bit, and then finally we both manage to sort of catch on. I think he gives a little push here. And I'm pretty pleased that we've managed to make up that 30-second gap. And we've also put 11 seconds behind us and the guy behind. So now with 1.5, 1.6 miles to go, I'm starting to think about winning this race within the race and to try and get myself up into 39th, which I think 36th was my best result so far this season, and that was last week. Go and check out that video if you haven't. So as you can see, as we're rolling through, we're really quite, slow. We're not pushing out many watts. And just in the corner of my eye, I see the guy behind who's 13 seconds. He's now 12 seconds, 11 seconds, starts to catch up. And I'm feeling like we need to get a little bit of a move on, otherwise we might get caught. As we come up to the end of the sprint section here, I'm just going to try and focus on really surprising these two. I know from about 250 meters, 250 feet out, I can kind of hold a half decent sprint, and I had a little bit of a chance to recover. So as soon as I see that flick into a 0.2 and then the sort of countdown, I'm going to try and surprise them. Just preparing myself to sprint, and then off I go. Pretty good timing. I'm going to try and hold this for as long as possible. Try and hold 700, 800 for as long as possible. I know they'll be drafting behind me, but I'm really determined to make sure I get that 39th position after coming this far. And it's at this point I know I've done it. But I'm pretty knackered, to be honest with you. But I did win the race within the race, which I was quite happy with. Didn't manage to stay with everyone until the end, all the front group. But for me, it's a good result. Once again, I hope everyone has enjoyed this video. And hope to see you on the next one.